this is Peah, Yerushalmi Peah, Daf Mem Zayin, and we're starting right after the Mishnah, the Mishnah of Halakha Dalet, and then that's in the article as well, the edition, and in the Vilna edition, it's Chav Zayin Amud Aleph, also right after that Mishnah. Okay. Tani, we learned Abu no Ishu Krovo, Shnei Achim, Shnei Shutfim. Even though they are connected, but if they're separate financial jurisdictions, father and a son, a person is relative, Shnei Achim, two brothers, Shnei Shutfim, two partners, part themselves their Ma'aser Sheni, they can redeem each other Ma'aser Sheni. The might of redeeming for the other person Ma'aser Sheni is going to add a fifth. You're redeeming somebody else's Ma'aser Sheni. Notice it says that Ma'aser Ani, if they're both poor, you can give to each other Ma'aser Ani. Rabbi Yehuda said, no, Tova Meir, may a curse before the Lamishu, nice and loving, Ma'aser Ani, somebody who gives his father tea for Ma'aser Ani. Amru, they said, and the Karamnogi takes out the word minayin here, meaning that this Chacham is a sponsor to Rabbi Yehuda. They say no, shimu shnei manim. It's kind of like Shachmonis, you say by being machafi sudusayu if they're poor. So here too, they're poor, so therefore they're justified in exchanging the Maisani. Okay, so now the Gemara asks, ma beino lekad maisa. So what's the difference? The previous statement, Bava, previous statement, Mishnah had said that Makabo soil cut, so somebody who leaves the field in order to harvest it, he's going to get a third, a half, a third, or a quarter as his wages. He's now to take like a Shichem Peah from that field. But in the second case in the Mishnah, it says he's mutter like a Shichem Peah. What's between the two? So it's saying that the second case is Ba'oimerlo. It's about where he tells the sharecropper when you harvest, when you harvest it, a third belongs to you. So that means after the harvest. In other words, at the time of harvest he didn't own it. The sharecropper had no ownership interest, and then in that case he's allowed to take to second Shechem Peah because he didn't have any ownership interest at the time of the harvest, only afterwards. But as opposed to a case where he says you have a third in the land. Oh, a third in the land. His ownership interest in his land, he can't make Lech Shechem Peah. So it depends when he's promised that Mechta Shvishavia, if it's going to only be operative once the field is harvested, afterwards, or even before the field is harvested. Amar Bichir Rabbi Bun Hadar Mastisha Shamorcha Zchia Bepeah Shimateres Esel Morim. So the Pnei Moshe says Oper Beis Lachas Gosino Hide. We learned there the boy house we asked there Bedina in Halacha the time which it says a Katzar Chetzi you harvested half, Mar Chetzi and sold a half. The buyer gives pay for all entire field because the obligation of pay remains in whatever grain is standing at the end. There's the cost, so he has to give on all of it. Even that was already harvested by the seller. Only if the poor seller is a poor person, can he acquire the pay himself. Morin, and this is talking about where since in this case the buyer has to take off even from the bundles which the Ba'abais cut off, since payer for the entire field is at the end, not just payer for the part he bought, right? Says she sold the entire field im chatzi hakom nishes, so she's half the sweet grain still standing. Kamon hamocher sadeh hamocher mutter. Someone says his field is permissible. And we're talking about there where he sold him the field, the kamasa and the standing crop. The last time I got the Shemach L'Sodim Chatzi Akoma, we were sold in the field with half of the standing crop. And Marcha Hushi Yizke Gam Mechelka Peah Shemafish L'Chacham. Now the seller is poor, so the bargain based on rates, steaming up to 200 zuz. So now can he take from the Peah at the end of the field? He doesn't own it anymore, right? He gave it to the other guy. He sold it to him. So can he take from that Peah? She's going to be which the pirates take on the sheaves. Which is taken even on the sheaves which was harvested already while it was still in the shus of the seller. Still now, since the buyers once they put leket, even on that, they can reserve that leket. So the seller, Zachi Bepeah, that he is Zoche in that Peah, Shemateres Amorim. The Pnei Moshe explains. The Chir Babun is out. Chir Babun. Mehai masti. Since Shamroch Yochu, she's gam also chelik apeh. Shemateres somewhere. He can also acquire the pear which allows his sheaves, which already harvested, shekatzu b'tchila, which he harvested begins. Because how that we think the idea of the mocha and lo chelik achshav, that this thing, that since the mocha has no portion now, lo b'sod of lo mechubar, not feel not what's connected to the ground. Zameh mamish l'idina the seifa. It's like the end of the halacha. Mamar shlish masha to kotzer shalcha. Said a third of what you harvest after harvest is yours. Mutar, Belakashir Peah, Fish and Chelik Mechubar. It's also okay over here because he has already no chelik, and that whatever's left at the end, from which lokach take off the Belakashir Peah. So it says Gemara again. The seller can be goes on the Peah, which allows his sheaves, his own sheaves. Rabbi said, there the field is obligated. But here the field is not obligated. Explains the Pnei Moshe. It's not true. Lo dami. It's not comparable. When he harvested half and sold half, the sort of when it's still in your shus. When you cut your half, it was before you sold the field. But when you harvested, was still you the sellers. And that already became chayiv in Peah in his rishus. For any uncle, he's close to chelik haPeah he can't be zeicha in the Peah, which he was obligated to take at the time that the obligation befell. But here Shazam Makabel is not Zerach Mechuber at all. After you harvest. So, and the son is not obligated in his domain, but his own half is not chayiv, even though it's in his rishus. Shem Shas Ksir Kati Lo Zocha Kum. It's the other way around. This fellow, what's the case? Why by the Oris can he collect? Because the time of Kutzer wasn't his. The first guy, the previous case, first guy owns the first half of the field where he's harvesting it. But in the second case, the sharecropper doesn't own it at the time that he's harvesting it. He only gets his portion later on. Once it's said from the ground, therefore, is mutter Peah, which preceded his ownership interest. Shiny he belekashim Peah shehein ba'ziva. Then that they are in leaving him over. Says the Pnei Moshe. Time also Maisa Oni. The reason I now take Maisa Oni Masisin, who Mefaresh, he explains the shiny lekashim Peah, that he can take the Sibu Shas Katzir Atazov. The obligation is at the time they're harvested. So he even had a portion at the time of the harvest. Once a man, you're allowed to take Lekshir Peah. The chi was not when it's left at the time of harvesting. It's later on. When you bake miruach, right? B'shash asa naset tavel u'maisus. When it comes tevel from a person maisus. Rachshav zachu b'chalko. By that time, he already acquired his portion. So therefore, he himself cannot seize that maitzani, he has to give it to other aniyim. Halacha. Hamocher sadeu. Somebody sells his field. Hamocher mutar v'lokech aser. The mocher is permitted to take like a Yerushalmi Peah. If he's poor, the buyer cannot, and the Gemara is going to explain why. Ladies call them as a poor person should not hire a worker with the assumption that his own son, the worker's son, will gather behind him, because then it deprives other name. Somebody who does not let the name will take their laket. Oshu meniach as a rishon or echad, he allows one person to give esachad, doesn't allow another person. Oshu messiah as echad behem, or you're helping one of them to gather. I raise the goal sanim. You're either stealing or from all the name or from the other name. And this it says, even though it's an asmachta, even though it's an asmachta, lo sasik vu olin, you should not overstep the boundaries of those people who are coming up to your field in order to collect leket Yerushalmi Peah. Sorry, it says here in the Vilna, lo tasig gvul olim. When the art scroll it says al tasig gvul olam. What's the pasuk? Yeah, Torah brings down al tasig gvul olam asher asu v'secha. So not olim but olam. Okay. It says the Mishnah further. Somebody. No, I just did it. No, I didn't do that. So I'm not up there yet. Not the Mishnah. Oh, yeah. I just finished the Mishnah. Confusing. It says, so this is when you sold the field and whatever standing grain there was. If you sold just a standing grain, and you can retain ownership of the field. So I was seal a sadeh. Period. It was any kore sadcha, but the one guy it's called his sadeh. It was any kotzek tzircha. The other guy it's called his harvest. And therefore, they can't keep it. They have to give it over to the chayiv in. They're chayiv, both chayiv to compare to a third party. Bimasa kain, I raise the gosanim. So the Ritva says, Ahad lo yiskar adam es ha poel. Kai kafeiros apnei Moshe. So they don't hire a poel to in order to collect in order with the contract that the poel can bring his son with him, because then that goes osanim. Poel osakena raise there, and the poel does this. Harez goes on, not only is he steal for the aniyim, Harez goes on babais ulaniyim. And the Ritva says, "Shebe miskavin osa sheyipol leket harbe mishubano." He deliberately caused a lot of leket to fall for his son to collect behind him. But if a gam goes el aniyim, he also that's stealing from the babas. Also, it's aniyim. Shemiach lemel yosef b'shar he lets his son collect more than the other poor people. Al-Zenaman, this says, Al Tasei Gvul, I assume it's supposed to be Olam again. Rabbi Yirmiyah of Rabbi Yosef, Chadamar, who, Elu, oh, wait, maybe this is only, because it says, Olam, it's right. No, this is the same pasuk, Al Tasei Gvul Olam. So we're dashing it, even though it says Olam, we're dashing it if it says Olim. Rabbi Yirmiyah Yosef Chadamar Elu Ole Mitzrayim, and that's they're called Olim because these are the Bnei Yisrael who came first were chayiv in matnos aniyim. Chadamar, so those are the Olim you're stealing. The people who came to establish the obligation of matnos aniyim, matnos aniyim. Yeah. B'Chadamar was said Elu shiyordim nichseim. these are people who have gone down from their property. In other words, the people who are gone down from their property, you're stealing from them, and they're called olim lashon saginor. We call somebody is blind, somebody full of light, and these people says olim. We're going up, but really it's a polite way of saying they went down from their value. It says vanim runi tavi bayis. This seems to be continuation. Nimrud Tavi Bayis. Yes, so that is the this Olim is Lashon Sagi Nor for Merudim. Okay, so that is the Olim is the Merudim is what's supposed to say. Olim is Lashon Sagi Nor. Once he said we dash, im asisa kain. If you do this, and this is going on. If you bring poor people into your house, in other words, once we brought down pasuk for the context of showing that you're stealing people who are lost of property, we darshan another drasha, not related. If you bring poor people into your house and can feed them, I consider you if you brought bikurim to the base hamikdash. Ne'amar kan taviv and ne'amar alon. It says and it says Roshei Reishis B'Krei and Mascha Tavi Beis Hashem Elokecha. So it's as if you brought the Reishis as if you came to the Beis Hamikdash. Halacha Vav. A sheaf, which is a bundle which is forgotten by the workers, Loshko Ba'al Bais, but the Ba'al Bais not forget it, or vice versa, Loshko Ba'al Bais, Loshko Polim, Amdu Aniyim in front of, if the Aniyim stood in front of a bundle and to prevent other people from getting at it or seeing it, Oshifu prevent the owner from seeing it, Oshifu B'Kasher, they cover with straw, Ein Oshichu Tzagis B'Shicha. So the Gemara says, Ha'omer sheshalchu polim lo shchalchu ba'abais, a bundle which is brought in by the workers but not ba'abais, ain't a shicha. It's not shicha. T'chsiv kitzircha v'sharachta. Your harvesting determines when it could be shicha. Conversely, shchalchu ba'abais lo shchalchu polim. If the ba'abais forgot it but not the polim, ain't a shicha. It's also not shicha. T'chsiv kitzor v'sharachta. When when you harvest, meaning the harvesters forget. The harvesters didn't forget, so then it's not considered to be forgetfulness or payah. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehuda. Well, maybe this is for tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So let's go right on top of Memches.